This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
So I wonder, who exactly are you? Think about that for a moment. And are you always you, authentically you, all the time? Or is it kind of part-time? Part-time personalities. We're going to talk about that today. Honestly, I'm not even sure what this is. I've never heard this term. I've heard other terms related to personalities. And I don't mean just multiple personalities, but we'll get with all of that. She's a transformational coach, helps people heal, helps them tap into their true personality, and so much more. Farrell Minaker is back with us. And how are you doing today?
I'm awesome. Thank you so much for having me again. This has been a lot of fun doing these episodes.
Likewise, and I'm learning a lot. And the part-time personality, I'm not really sure what that is. I'll just, before you even give the definition, my head is like bouncing all over the place. But I've heard of, we have multiple parts to our personality. That's not multiple personalities. That's something off to the side. We can occasionally not be us all the time. So you go to work, that's your work personality. Maybe you're with friend A, you're a certain way with them. Friend B, you're a different way with them. So that's what's coming up here. But I don't know how I attach that to part-time personality. So what is that?
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. And it again, I want to make the distinction that it's not the same as somebody having been diagnosed, say, with multiple personalities, right? It's not quite like that. But what you said is, yeah, we have different aspects of ourselves that we're different parts of us depending on the situation, the environment, the people that we're with. So you could call it part-time personality. You can call it, say, like a part-time identity kind of thing. We all have all of these different parts of us, and then we have a main personality. So you know the person that you normally are every day, but then there's little parts that kind of branch off and are sub personalities. It's all the same thing. So for instance, when you're, like you said, when you're with your family, you're a different part of yourself. You wouldn't be the same or act the same or behave or talk the same way that you do with your family as you would, say, your best friend.
True.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So with these personalities, when you're trying to, like we talked about manifesting last week, right? So sometimes with these different personalities that we have, they may sabotage us what we're trying to manifest into our reality. So there's 6 main sabotaging personalities, part-time personalities that may come out like, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, I can't do this. Or you might have the perfectionist as well. I have to be perfect. There's different parts of us all the time, different aspects of us. And when we go to manifest things that we want, we might have the one personality over here that goes, yeah, I really want to do this. This is so exciting. This is awesome. And then you might have the opposite on the other side going, yeah, but I really can't do it. It's probably never going to happen. I'm just going to sit on the couch and do nothing. And so you have these conflicting part-time personalities that we're not necessarily aware of that happening. And those two, here's what's really interesting as well, is that those two personalities might not even be aware of the other personality. So if you have somebody that's you have a conflict going on in your mind, right? I really want to do this, but I can't because you may have a part that it's like amnesia. Like it's forgotten, your main personality has forgotten about this other part. And so that could come from trauma from when you're a kid. And it's this personality, part-time personality developed because it's trying to protect you from something like, oh, I really didn't like that. That didn't feel good. So now this new part-time personality has been created to make sure that this never happens to you again and keeps you safe. But they may be in conflict with each other of, I really want to do this. This is like the protector controller. This is the, I want to have fun and love the business that I'm in and doing what I'm doing. So you have to, then we have to uncover that, right? And really figure out where the problem lies. Does that make sense?
It does. Kind of shocking to know that there could be personality conflicts and you not even realize it. And I got to tell you, and you're stating what needs to be stated, but more and more when I hear those limiting beliefs, like I'm not good enough, and on and on and on, I'm so tired of hearing it. I'm being, it's not you. I've heard it forever that this is, what's in us, and it's almost as if abolish that. Let's move past it. Let's work on that. Because it's like, for me, it's like the proverbial broken record, hearing it over and over. It's the truth, though. It is what it is. And it's such a shame that we all deal with those things, those beliefs essentially from our childhood. And then that's part of those personalities that we're hearing today.
Yep, absolutely. And I get it. It does sound kind of repetitive, but that could also be, that's funny. It might be one of your part-time personalities coming up and being like, oh my God, like, let's just move on from this already. Maybe you're one of those people that has already been able to shift and move those things and move on from those things. And you're aware of those, but a lot of other people, like you said, there's still those limiting beliefs, and that's, it's, our behaviors or our values are things, things that we grew up with that we are limiting ourselves. And that's why when this stuff comes up for you, it might be really easy to get over it, but you've had the tools to teach you how to do that, right? With other people, that could be debilitating.
Totally.
I know I have this, but I don't know how to get past that. So one of the processes that I really like to use is parts integration. So I don't think we have time to do an actual process today, but the gist of it is, we uncover both of those part-time personalities. And what usually happens is there's that conflict between the two. So we uncover what this part-time personality really feels like, and then say the protector controller over here, well, why do they want to keep you safe, and help both parts of your personalities realize the other how the other one's feeling, and that they're both actually just trying to keep you safe. And once both part-time personalities understand each other, we can bring them together and resolve the conflict.
It sounds like it's almost as if you're checking in with your part-time personalities.
Yep.
How do you identify them? How many could we possibly have?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, you can, like Carl Jung does, he talks about all the different aspects of yourselves, or the, whatever you want to call it, part-time personalities, sub-personalities. We all have these. We all have, somebody that's a protector. We have, you could have the workaholic. You could have, the siren, the joker, there's so many of them. We all have main ones though, that's come up. So the best way for you to do that would just be to start asking questions. So something comes up. So, okay, for instance, have you ever had a time when you're in a situation and then all of a sudden something comes out and you're like, I have no idea why I just said that. I don't even know where that just came from. It didn't even feel like me saying it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it doesn't happen often for me.
Right.
Because I'm trying to find the best word here. Even keel. I don't want to say calculated, like I'm a planner, but I'm trying to get away from all of that. And a little bit like last night, before I got on here, I went to a kava bar for the first time, and it was just literally I've been passing it, and as I'm passing by, I'm like, I'm going in there, And usually I'm like thinking about, yeah, next Tuesday, let's go there. I was just like, well, let's go in. Um, so I'm trying to get around that, but I haven't like blurted things out I wasn't expecting to say, but it can happen. But saying it's not going to and why is that happening?
That's there could be a situation where you were triggered. So maybe you went to dinner and something happened and you were instantly triggered from something from a childhood trauma.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, that part-time personality that's kind of been sitting dormant way over here suddenly pops into your current reality or the current existence, and that's where those things can all of a sudden just pop out and go, oh, I have no idea where that came from. I didn't even realize that that existed. And that could be, again, part of that amnesia of your main personality doesn't recognize where that came from because that memory or that part-time personality has been sitting there dormant for so long, and it wasn't until it was triggered into your active experience that you became aware of it again. So that's where you need to integrate them so that you can help each of them understand, and that asking questions. So, okay, why did that come up? What's going on? What happened in my environment or my surrounding that had that triggered? Right. And you just do uncovering processes as well, and ask those questions to make sure that you can understand from that perspective, and then go, okay, now what's the other part-time personality or sub-personality that's coming out and coming up, and what's that?
Do you help us do that?
Pardon?
When you work with somebody, do you help us identify what's going on there?
Yeah. Yep.
Hmm.
A lot of times it's, if you don't know how to do it yourself or you've never done it, it's way easier to have somebody else walk you through the process. And it's insane the amount of things that you uncover you didn't even realize were there until somebody else starts helping you ask those questions and really dig up all of that stuff.
Hmm. Is it bad to have those part-time personalities in those different situations? Like, the Farrell friend personality is this, the Farrell, coach is this, it's different for, there's a common thread there in our personalities, but if you have those different ones there, is that a bad thing necessarily?
No, I don't think so. I think it's all teaching you something all the time. And the more that you learn about yourself, the more aware you are of why these different aspects of you have come out and why they come out at certain times. I mean, it's the protector might be great to come out when you're walking down, a dark street at night by yourself. You'd want that personality to come out, right? Not the personality that you might have that shies away and tries to make themselves as small as they can when uh when you're in a situation like that. So I think they're all beneficial, and I think you can kind of upgrade those personalities, help them understand differently. Okay, we can look at this differently now. We don't need you to protect me from the boogeyman in the dark anymore, but I do need you to protect me from somebody that might jump out from a dark alley. So there are benefits to all of our part-time personalities. It's just finding a way, and having a coach to help you integrate all of them so that they're working harmoniously. Because what we really want at the end of the day is not to delete or remove any of your part-time sub personalities. It's to make sure that they all work together monogamously so that you can run like a well-oiled machine. Like every cog is working in unison together, and those personalities pop out when they're needed, not just out of fear or trauma or triggers. Does that make sense?
Hmm. And I'm
Okay.
going to imagine that ultimately, in doing the work, you are more authentic in those personalities. Like it is closer to you as opposed to this is the work me, this is the home me, this is the, I met a stranger me, this is me at a networking event. You're all over the place. Again, not a bad thing. It's a part of life. But I would imagine in doing this work that you're more close to who you really are when you're that person with those other scenarios and people. And I wonder, could anybody ever be the same person in all of those situations? Like really the same? Is it even possible?
I don't think so.
I don't think
Not
so
when you're
either.
showing up as your authentic self, because you have all kinds of different situations. You have all kinds of different parts of you.
Hmm.
If you were to be the same person for every single scenario in your life, I would say you're living a lie. You're not really living your true authentic self, because that to me sounds like somebody who's too much in control of their emotions. So they're not allowing the other parts to come out naturally the way that they should.
Yes, I agree with you. I
Mhm.
agree with you. You're not going to say the same things to your kids that you say to somebody at work because they don't
Right.
apply. It's a different vibe. So I don't think it's funny how we're talking about being as authentic as you can.
Mhm.
But if you were truly in those different scenarios, you're not really being authentic. To your point, and never thought of it that way. It's forced. It's forced.
Yes.
It's really like not real. But I would imagine you want it to come closer to your core, with the fringe being, I'm a little bit different here. I'm a little bit different there. But I don't want to be radically different. Like,
Mhm.
okay, where am I going with this? Let's say you're always honest with your kids. You're not really
Mhm.
honest at work. Okay, there's a bit of a conflict to your values.
Right.
Obviously, there's an honest person inside. You're honest with your kids, but
Mhm.
not as much at work. I would think that you would want to try and blend as much of you into those different scenarios, but they are going to be different. You're going to be honest at work and honest with your kids, but you're going to act differently a little bit here and there. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, it does. And I want to make sure that we're clear though. Like we still have a main personality of who we generally are.
Yes.
But that these other parts of us, like you said, like you kind of blend them into your current reality. And that's really just at the end of the day, it's you shifting and growing and learning and becoming different. I mean, you're not the same person you are now as you were when you were three,
Hmm.
right? You're
I'm
not the
not the
same
same
person
person I
now that
was a year ago, and certainly
exactly.
not the last 5 years ago. And I would imagine that's a good thing,
Absolutely.
because we're on a journey. We're looking to evolve. But if you hit
Yes.
me up 10 years ago, even seven, I might look back and say, I don't know, because I didn't get it. I didn't. Comes from talking to people like you.
Right, right. And we all do the best that we can in the situations that we are in. We do the best that we can with what we have currently. And then you can come back, say a year later, and you look back on yourself and you go, oh, wow, I was just in a similar situation to what I was a year ago right now. And I handled it much differently because you've learned, you've grown, you've shifted, you've changed. There's new information that you have that maybe you didn't have a year ago. And so you did the best that you could with what you had a year ago.
Mm,
And now a year later, you're going, oh, well, I've learned all these new tools. I have these new processes. I understand myself better. I understand my different aspects of me coming out. And now you can handle that differently with different information.
for sure. And we have to give ourselves some grace because, as you said, and thank you for bringing that up, we didn't have the tools back then. So if you look back a number of years and let's say a relationship ended and you're beating yourself up and it's like, oh, I really screwed that up. I should have done this. I should have done that. You did the best with what you had at the time. And we can't
Mhm.
forget that. That is huge. It's, and even if you didn't learn some of the shadow work, if you will, just life is going to make you react differently a number of years later. Just, experiencing life, then you see things from a different way. But certainly,
Yep.
working with somebody like you, we start figuring these things out way faster, you know, get
Yeah,
clarity.
absolutely. And it's so incredible to watch clients go through these different transformations, and you can see on their face when they all of a sudden just light up and they get it and they go, Oh, that makes so much sense, because it's not me telling them what they're feeling. It's just me helping to extract the information out of them that they maybe didn't know how to pull out of themselves. And then when they see all that come out and they're the ones giving me the information, I'm just asking the questions and they're following those breadcrumbs. And then for them to go, oh my God, yes, that makes so much sense. This is so awesome. And you see them take these big leaps and shifts. And then eventually, the goal is for them to be able to go on with their lives without me. And that's probably the best feeling, to know that, okay, I've got another client that's learned all this stuff. They
Mm.
have all these tools, they know all these processes. Now they can continue on with life and go, you know what? I'm at a point where I understand and I can do it by myself. That's, to me as a coach, that should be the end goal for anybody. I'm not here to give, you know, advice, or I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't sit there and do talk therapy. It's really about getting to the root of things and giving people the tools so that they can go on in their lives and do it on their own without having somebody in the background.
Having these realizations, even that we're talking about now, and I've been studying this stuff, and
Mhm.
learning more today, even talking to you, how what we just said, the personalities might not even know, they're not even connected to each other. Would you say that you're a different person than you were like 5 years ago?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a different person than I was a year ago too. It's insane to look back at yourself and see, because I do this work for myself as well. I practice it. I don't just teach people how to do it. I live it every day. And to see
Yep.
where I've come from a year ago to now, I am a completely different person for sure.
Isn't it amazing, even when you look back at 6 months, even a year, like
Yep.
where you were a year ago, and just kind of trace what happened? Not that I live a crazy, busy, life unlike other people, but when I look back, and even just how I react to things and what even took place in the last year, I'm like, whoa, like that was a lot, in a good way, a lot going on there, and I feel movement forward, and I believe that that's what everybody wants to feel, and working with you, it's you put them on the road so they can drive forward. A lot of us, we're on a side street somewhere. We're not on the highway of life, really moving forward. How do we connect with you? I know this is a
Yeah.
little woo, a lot of questions here. How do we do that?
Oh, that's awesome. No problem. You can jump on my email at fjminaker@gmail.com, or my website, farrellminakercoaching.com as well. And I'd love to connect with anybody who has more questions, or if they are feeling stuck, like they're not moving forward, if they've looked back and go, wow, I really haven't come very far. You
Mm.
definitely need me as your coach.
You do, and I can attest to that, because there were times where I was just doing life, and every day was rinse and repeat, like Groundhog Day, the movie. And now I see movement. It's fantastic once you figure this stuff out,
Yeah,
with help from people like you. Thank you so much for today. By the way, last name Minaker, FJ
correct.
Minaker, correct?
Mhm.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you for today. Really appreciate it. And uh, this part-time personality appreciates you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You too. You take care.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.